Hey guys, MCU Collector here with another figure review. Next up is the Hasbro Power Rangers Lightning Collection Wave 10. This is the In Space. He's actually Turbo is when he first made his appearance in the show. But this is the In Space Phantom Ranger. This is probably one of my most highly anticipated figures from the Power Rangers Lightning Collection line. Completely. When I was a kid, I absolutely loved kind of those, though usually like the 6 Rangers, so Zeo Gold, Green Ranger, White Ranger. And then when Phantom Ranger showed up in Turbo, I'm like, this guy has an awesome look to him. Blue Centurion also I liked, and I know it's kind of he has a really goofy look, but I do actually really like the design, so I'm extremely excited to have this Phantom Ranger now. GameStop did get them in. It seems like GameStop is the only one to get any of these in. I do not have Zeo Yellow or In Space Pink yet, but I did get Dino Charge Green and the Phantom Ranger. But anyway, we have the side artwork there looking very cool. It says In Space Phantom Ranger, even though he's technically from Turbo, but he did make appearances in Space, so I guess it works, but I still think it's a little inaccurate. Side artwork wraps around. We get the digital render of the figure there. Same artwork there on the side. So there we go. Let's get In Space Phantom Ranger out of the package. Spoiler alert, this is the first Power Rangers Lightning Collection to go pinless, so that is pretty cool. So let's check it out. Okay, and here is the In Space Phantom Ranger out of the package, and he looks pretty cool, just like he did in the show. But one thing that I don't really remember from the show is his helmet sitting really low on his neck, like coming down to where the helmet's basically on top of his armor and padding and everything like that. So in action figure form, I think it's a little low. It was pretty low looking back in the show, watching some clips, but I do think it's still a little too low and looks a little funky. But I still love the design of the Phantom Ranger, and I think he looks really cool. And one fun thing that I'm going to do is I thought it'd be cool if I use my helmet, which I also have a black version, so shout out to Nico Hodge Artman Customs for printing some of these in a black resin for me. So I'm going to try it on there. I already kind of did, and I think it looks pretty good. So this might be something where I get multiple Phantom Rangers to be able to do my own little custom figure type of thing. But Phantom Ranger looks really cool. In terms of accessories, he has this piece. This is that same like blasting effect piece that we would put on like putties, and the cogs got these also. So it seems odd that the Phantom Ranger would get it, but I think the reason for it is because he can go invisible. He's got a way of cloaking himself. So, you know, like his first appearance, you know, he's running around and you couldn't see him type of thing. So what I'm thinking is, you know, he activates his cloaking, and then, you know, using your imagination, this is kind of how it would start, and then he would go into cloaking. That's my assumption on him including this. We get this new blast effect piece here. It's done in this orangish color and looks a little bit warped, but that looks pretty good. He has this blaster, and I forget the name of it. I have to go back and watch, but Toku Topics, I watched his video and they were talking about this. This isn't something that was actually from Power Rangers. Maybe in the comics, I don't know. But maybe it was a Sentai thing. I'm not really sure. I don't even know if Phantom Ranger was from the Super Sentai series or anything like that. So it's interesting, but I don't believe he used this actual weapon in Power Rangers. So it's kind of interesting. We'll take a closer look at that when we take a closer look at the figure. And then out of the package, he has the 2 trigger hands, and then he also comes with a pair of fists. So that is pretty cool. So now let's take a closer look at the Phantom Ranger. Okay, so here is the Phantom Ranger, and he looks pretty good. But I will tell you, there's a couple of things that kind of are a little bit wonky on this figure. So he is the first Power Rangers Lightning Collection figure to go pinless. So we have pinless double-jointed elbows, we have pinless double-jointed knees. Now, one of the issues that I'm having, and I've never had this with any Marvel Legends figures or anything like that, is you see that arm, his right arm, how kind of loose in there it is? It's not like crazy wobbling around or anything, but I feel like it's super loose, and we haven't seen that with any of the double jointed pieces before. Now his legs, they aren't really so bad, but they do feel much looser than we would get with like a Marvel Legends figure. So it's kind of a little funky. So I must add, the way the shoulders are, also he can't really get his arms like straight down. Well, I guess that's not too bad. But anyway, he looks really good. So let's look at his blaster. Again, I forget the name of this, but this thing looks awesome. We get a nice silver metallic paint on there. We get some black paint, and then we get some nice gold paint there at the end of the barrel. So that just looks really good. Both sides painted. This thing looks awesome. We get that blast effect, which you could pour it on at the end of the barrel there. So it looks like, you know, he's shooting, you know, with the blaster. And then over here with this power ruby, we get a little, not a little hole, but a big ass hole in there, so you can almost hardly see the red. But this actually ports right on in here in his chest. Now, I don't really remember from the show if he was able to make projectile blasts from the power ruby, but that's almost like a life force for him. It gives him power when it's stolen. He starts to like die or whatever. But yeah, but here he is, man. He just looks really good. The helmet, I think, looks great. It just sits too damn low on the neck. Let's see if I could kind of lift up on it a little bit, and I think that would look much better if, you know, it's like Hasbro heard all the complaints that the helmets were too low, and then they started changing that, and the helmets were sitting a little bit higher, and then they've gone low again to where they don't look as good. But I think this thing looks awesome. I absolutely love it. I love the silver paint throughout the around the visor. You get a little bit of red paint there. Just looks fantastic. All his armor pieces. We got a T on the back. I'm not sure what that was really about. Nice silver paint throughout. All looks really good. When we get a couple of different shades of black, so the base figure is done in this kind of this matte black, but some of these armor places we get some of metallic metallic black paint actually added on. There's silver buckles down there at the boots too. Forgot to mention that. But like right here, we get a kind of a shiny black paint around on the straps as well. And then we also get silver paint added to the buckles around those straps. Here on the forearm, the gauntlet piece, we have a shiny black there. The back of the gloves, we get a shiny black, so you actually notice that on the interchangeable fist as well, where the light is just shining off that back of that armor plate there. And then the rest of the figure is basically a matte finish type. There's a little bit of metallic black there too. You know, we can't really see what's under the shoulder pad. So, you know, anytime we get these Power Rangers figures, a lot of times there's always going to be these rubber overlays. So kind of like the SPD A Squad figures, then Phantom Ranger, and then like the Rangers with shields. It's all this rubber overlay piece that sits on top of the torso to give it that look. And I think it looks really good. Man, what an awesome looking figure. Really nice. I like the details in the sculpt. Let's see if I can brighten that up so you guys could really see it. But notice it has a really leathery look to it. All the sculpted details. All came out looking really, really good. So I love the way he came out. So let's see how well he can move. Okay, so Phantom Ranger with his head sitting so far down, he's not really going to be able to look down a whole lot. Looking up is definitely going to be a challenge, so that is unfortunate. Full rotation in there, of course, and we get a little bit of pivot going on. The arm you can get to go straight out. Full rotation is possible, but the way the shoulder pad works there, you'd have to work it around, but you actually can do it. There is a butterfly joint in there, so that Hasbro has not skipped out on doing Rangers with any of these figures with butterfly joints. So you can get the arm to go back that much. Coming forward, not nearly as much, and then it hits that the shoulder pad armor and just kind of stops in its tracks. We have an upper bicep swivel in there that's nice and tight. We get a double jointed elbow on this pinless elbow, and then this one is pretty tight. I don't really have any issues with the elbow here. It's just the right one that's super loose. We get a diaphragm joint on all these Ranger figures, so he can pivot to his left that much. He can pivot to his right that much. He can go back that much. He can come forward that much, but then we have the inverted ab crunch, so total coming forward, he can do that. Total going back, he can go back that far. Swivel at that diaphragm joint, there is no waist swivel. Legs go out that far apart, so that is really good. He can kick forward that high, which is nice. Goes back tiny bit. We have an upper thigh cut in there. Double jointed knee like so. That works really well, but it feels loose. It's ratcheting so it'll hold in place, but you can bend it quite easily. You have a boot cut in there, so boot swivel, foot hinges all the way down. We get a little bit of hinge up, ankle pivot, peg holes at the bottom of the feet. So Phantom Ranger's got some decent movement. Okay, so here's a little bit of a size comparison. So he's actually a little bit larger than the Rangers figures, and that kind of threw me out. I was expecting him to be just about the same size, but he's actually a little bit taller than your standard Power Ranger. So here we have him next to TJ, because at least TJ was in Turbo. He was the Red Ranger at the time. So at least we have some familiar faces. Cassie's going to be the more important character to kind of relate to the Phantom Ranger, as they seem to have some type of connection. Remember, Phantom Ranger was in 7 episodes of Turbo, but he was only in 3 episodes of In Space, and it was extremely limited in Space. One of those is just like the cameo at the end of the season, in the season finale. So yeah, anyway, and then a female figure. So Cassie's going to be essentially the same exact figure as that. So much taller than the female figure. So I actually really like the way they kind of size up with each other. It kind of threw me off. I was expecting them to be the exact same height and everything, but he is a little bit bigger, so that's cool. This next part's just gonna kind of be for fun, because I'm trying to think of, like figures. If I were to do like a custom figure and character and everything like that, whereas I have the helmet design already, can I make it work on some type of figure? And I think this would look really good depending on colors, right? If this Phantom Ranger figure were in the same blue and red, I think that would look really, really nice. But I'm going to show you what I have, and I have this guy kind of resting on there with John Walker for now. But one thing that I do have is a black version of my helmet, as you can see here, and I will be selling these soon. I just have not yet really gotten around to it. But I'm thinking, this, I could make this work. Oh, and I just noticed that this neck has a ball, the dumbbell joint instead of the disc hinge for the helmets. So, I can't really get it to peg, but, black helmet I think would actually look really nice on this guy. So that would be pretty cool. I would actually like that. So just a little bit of experimentation for myself. Okay, and as far as a little bit of a close-up, yeah, I think that would look really nice if I throw in some silver into this, and I can't paint for shit, but I think that would look really cool. If you had a team of these guys, if you had like your blue Centurion type guy along with your Phantom Ranger, that could actually look really, really, really cool. Okay, and that was my review of the In Space Turbo Phantom Ranger. Solid figure. A couple of things. The looseness in the elbow was a little bit jarring. For the first figure to have the pinless tech, for that to be loose like that is unfortunate. But as you can see, it's going to hold in place just fine. It's not going to wobble around. But again, it is a little bit loose. The knees do feel a little gummy-like, which kind of sucks. Again, with the pinless, but we hit all the articulation points that we're used to with the Power Rangers Lightning Collection, the diaphragm joint, the inverted ab crunch, the butterfly joints, all of that. Solid looking figure. Hasbro continues to place the helmets too damn low, because this thing is basically sitting on the collar piece to that armor. It just needs to be a little bit higher, and I think it would look much better and give overall better presentation to the design of the costume itself. But I think it came out great. I'm excited at the prospect of getting a blue Centurion figure. No doubt in my mind Hasbro would want to do that, because I think they know it would sell well. At least I think it would. You guys let me know down in the comments below if you guys hated him or something, would never want an action figure. But I think it would be cool. They would likely call it In Space and not Turbo, since he did make an appearance technically in Space. I think there's a couple of reasons for that. Turbo is not really... People didn't really care much for Turbo. Like, I didn't care much for Turbo, but it still holds a special place, right? And then I think, they don't want to start the Turbo line without any other planned figures, whereas, all these in-space figures they seem to be really going heavy with at the moment, that they would want to get they would just brand him as In Space as opposed to Turbo, which I think also kind of makes sense. But, you know, we do take away from the fact that he had more appearances in Turbo. It was his first appearance. But anyway, Phantom Ranger, I think he's awesome. You guys let me know down in the comments below what you think of the Phantom Ranger action figure. What did you think of the Phantom Ranger from the show? When you were a kid, when you were watching it, was it like a holy moly, who is this guy? He is freaking awesome. That's how it was for me, but you guys let me know in the comments below. If you guys like this video, please do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. As always, thank you for watching.